Jeff, how did Jonathan Bernier look walking in this morning? Any further update on him?
I didn't get a chance to see him walk, but not really any further update. Like as I said yesterday, it'll be one of those things that we'll just see how the healing process goes. Ultimately, it's a soft tissue injury, so it just depends on how it heals and where his strength's at, where his where his pain levels at, those types of things.
You guys struggled when he was out. I think it was 7 games in January, February. Do you feel like, but I think that was right when, COVID hit, injuries. Do you guys feel like you're in a better position now, just with the way you guys have been playing to not fall into that kind of situation again?
We certainly hope so. I think his injury coincided with a number of guys being out, and so it kind of compounds it at times. I don't think it was exactly that, but it's somewhere in that mix. I don't remember. But that certainly compounds it. I think Jonathan's a big reason why. When we win games, he's been a big part of it. He's done a good job of that. But I also think I feel real confident that Greiser can go in and give us the similar type goaltending. What Jonathan's done is he's stopped the ones he's supposed to stop. He's made big saves at big moments. And I'll reference one of our better games and from a maybe a game where we dominated, the Nashville game. He made 2 huge stops in the first in Nashville. That we ended up winning that game pretty handily. Well, that's what big saves at big moments are. So, I hope as a hockey team, we can limit our grade A chances against the big chances against that the goalie doesn't have as much of a chance on. If you give up chances, you hope there are a bunch of B-level chances where, in general, goalies stop those pucks, and Greiser's just got to stop the ones he's supposed to and then make big saves at big moments. And if we can play the type of team defense that we need to play and he can do his job, then we have opportunity to be successful.
Lastly, Bobby Ryan, good to return tonight?
We anticipate Bobby Ryan in the lineup tonight.
Thank you.
Next up, Trevor Thompson, Fox Sports Trade.
Blashill, just to follow up on Bernie, just day-to-day, or will he have to be put on IR?
Say that again?
Well, is it just day-to-day, or will he have to go on IR?
Right now he's not on IR, so if that changes, we'll let you know. That's a roster management thing too. So right now he's not on IR.
What about Pickard? What's the scouting report on him right now, and how's he playing?
First off, I think Pick's done a really good job in a not an easy situation of being very proactive to keep himself in as close to game shape as he can without have played a whole bunch. He's gone through a long time since coming back from Europe and not played until the other night. And what Ben Simon told me was he did not look like a goalie who hadn't played. He looked like a goalie who had been playing. He looked ready. And I would credit Picks for that and Jeff Saleko. I think Picks has worked really hard on his own. He's worked really hard when he's had opportunities in practice to make sure that he stays as sharp as he can. It's not easy. It's not an easy position, and every games are definitely different. But at least he got one in GR, and so at least he's played at least one game in the last little bit.
How much does him having experience in the league sort of help him even in a situation like this where it's not optimal, obviously?
Well, I'd say having experience in the league, and I'd also say who he is as a person. He's a pretty unflappable person. He's pretty even keeled. I think he's got a great outlook on life, and so I think that helps. And I think having experience and been around the league and certainly feels comfortable going into a game, whether it be subbing into a game or as a starter. So he feels comfortable and confident in those situations. And again, I think he's done the work to give himself confidence to be ready.
I'm just wondering too, I know it's a very limited number of fans in the big building, but have you noticed anything? Have the fans given any energy, or just what does it mean to you and the guys to see fans back in the building as they start to trickle back in?
Well, there's no doubt, every extra fan in the building is a bigger boost to our hockey team. And while we'd like to see it 20,000, whatever the number is, it's better than none. And each extra person that's allowed in and comes in, I think is an extra boost for us. So, You know, I've said it lots. I think the games are real competitive regardless, but certainly it's always better with fans. It just adds to the environment, adds to the emotion. It's really what sports at the professional level are about, really sports in general. It's a community trying to win together. So, you know, we're certainly thankful for the ones we have in, and we'd love to have as many more as possible as we hopefully come out of this pandemic.
Thanks, Blash.
Next up, Max Boltman with The Athletic.
Hey Jeff, I wanted to ask you about the way what you thought of the 11-7, how it suits you guys lately. I mean, I imagine it's probably something that's maybe a little easier to do at home, but what have you thought of how that's worked for the D in particular, I guess?
I think if you ask throughout the league, defensemen, and if you ask throughout the league, the defense coaches, they generally don't like the 11-7. They generally would rather go with 6. I think if you ask for a volunteer, though, nobody's going to volunteer to sit out. So that's the other side of it. You know, I think in our particular case, it's allowed us to have the right mix of guys, both offensive, both from the forward and D perspective of penalty killers, power play guys. And that's an important piece of why we're doing it. You know, I think you have to have a really good plan up front of managing your group and on the backside going into it. And I think, you know, we've spent a lot of time as a coaching staff trying to come up with that plan so it doesn't get scrambly on the bench. You know, as the opponent throws different things out at you, certainly up front, sometimes it makes a little bit difficult to have hard matchups. And or makes it difficult to decide who you're doubling into those spots. And so you have to have a good plan and be willing to adjust it as needed. I actually think sometimes it's easier on the road because you're maybe not as worried about matchups. But, you know, I've done it enough throughout my coaching career that I feel confident with it when it's the right time. I don't think it's a magic pill. I don't think it necessarily is a reason for success or not for success. I think it's about how it fits your particular team. And
then with Danny, it seems like he's been inching up closer to kind of his previous workload lately. How have you felt like he's progressing, and what are you seeing in his game right now?
You know, I think the one thing about Danny is you know, I don't know that he's at 100% in terms of his power. Well, I know he's not in terms of his power and his strength compared to where he was. He's definitely closer than where he was a month ago, and hopefully he continues to progress. But he's not there yet, so his skating isn't quite to the level that you know it would have been before the injury. But he has smarts, and hockey smarts trumps a lot of things. And you know, I think that hockey smarts gives us the confidence to put him out in a lot of different situations. And I think the fact that he's out 5-on-6 shows that myself and Doug Huda think that his strength on the puck is better than what it was a month ago. Because 5-on-6, you're going to get outnumbered, and you got to be strong and find ways to get the puck out. And that's where bigger men a lot of times are successful in those situations defensively. And I think the fact that he's been out there shows that, you know, we believe his strength is getting closer back to where it was.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Next up, Owen Newkirk with Star CD.
Morning, Jeff. Just wanted to know, in your experience coaching with Bobby Ryan this year, what have you noticed about his particular impact and what you miss when you don't have him in the lineup?
Well, Bobby, I think, brings a couple different things. Number one, you know, he's one of the guys on our team. We don't have a ton of them that can really score on one shot, and just one of those guys who can be a pure goal scorer. You know, some guys need lots of volume to score, and some guys just need one shot. And he's got a guy who can score from the outside, doesn't have to be on the inside to score. And we don't, again, have a lot of those. So it brings an element to our team. You know, he brings a right shot to our team. We don't have many of those, especially up front, especially guys that are power play guys. You know, him and Gags are the two guys. So it brings a little more dimension, I think, to our power play. And then just from a leadership standpoint, you know, he's been around a lot of situations. You know, he was a highly touted, high drafted player. who's kind of, gone through the gamut of being a top line player to being a fourth line player to being a healthy scratch. And he's kind of seen it all. And I think that can really help our group, whether he's in the lineup or not in the lineup. And he's done a really good job in his leadership standpoint that way. He's also been in the situation that we are in where we're trying to rebuild. And so I think he brings perspective in game in those situations and helps us stay calm and not over panic if things start to go the wrong way.
You mentioned Ferris State yesterday, so forgive me if I'm going back into the history books a bit, but I'm just fascinated with the fact that you have, a background as being a goaltender. And I'm sure you've gotten this question a lot, so I'm sorry if this is beaten down on you too much. But I remember going through, I've been doing this in pro hockey for almost 20 years now, and I don't hear a lot of head coaches say they have a real experience with the position. A lot of them, if anything, say, I leave the goalies alone because I don't know what it's like. You don't have to say that because you have that experience. And I can't imagine that that's not a huge positive for you to be able to experience something that's so different than the rest of the players on the ice.
Well, first off, I'll start by saying I was a shitty goaltender, so I got early experience in coaching. That jumpstarted my coaching career. I think the perspective of being a goalie, like every coach has their strengths and weaknesses and has different perspectives. And the fact that I was a goalie, I think, allows me, anywhere from understanding the importance of certain shots in practice, where the shots are coming from early, to understanding the mental side of it, to understanding there's sometimes where pucks go in and you're playing good, and I think having been a goalie, you understand that, and there's just nights where it happens to bounce in but you actually look good, and there's nights where you're not playing that good, that the puck's hitting you, and I think I can tell the difference between that. So hopefully it gives me some advantage from having the perspective of being a goaltender.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
That's it for us this morning. Thanks, everyone.